You're right, I hadn't thought of that. That'd be kind of cool. Out of character. Huh.
I
Well,
mean,
she has...
that's what she was originally going for anyway. At least with Avo, right?
Is that what she was going for? Coyote doesn't remember.
Yeah, she was basically seeking asylum with Evo in exchange for the vial of such and such, wasn't she?
Right, that's what I thought. I didn't think she was going to go work for him, but... Right.
Anyway, it wouldn't be the first time that a corp has drafted someone into their workforce. I don't necessarily think that's the likely option. I just, it's a possibility.
Well, whether that's the case, Mr. Johnson hired us to bring her ass back up here, and that's what we're gonna damn do.
Oh, sure. I mean, if for some reason she resists us, we can easily subdue her non-lethally and without any sort of permanent injury.
I think that's about as worth as much consideration as thinking that she's already gone. It's sort of out of our control. We'd have to take that as it comes.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. I just wouldn't want us to be surprised if it did happen. Or at least it would be a surprise we'd already considered.
Well, I mean, in that case, Coyote's going to say, in any event, we need more information on this guy, so I will send my fly spy, across the street with visual on the front of the building and the parking lot, and I can at least keep tabs on that. I'll keep it open, and I can give you the feed from it, if you like.
This may be a stretch. I'm not that familiar with how you can do things. But you do obviously have copies of his face and perhaps his voice. Are you able to look into databases just with that information?
We might be able to do an image check online.
Was he broadcasting a SYN before when we picked up his comlink?
Well, that's a good question.
So the natural assumption is that he had to have been, unless he was defying the official rules.
Sonny,
he was not.
Okay, then no, he wasn't. He was passive or silent.
Well, passive still means that you are showing your sin. Someone would just have to, access you. I didn't know whether you'd be able to read that from the comlink parser or whatever that was sent to the elevator.
Yeah,
he would have been able to, it would have, because he had the stiffer program, it would have picked it up right away if he came into view, but it didn't pick up any SYN or anything being broadcast.
Oh great, I'm crashed again. It's even if it were in passive mode, the way I had the drone set up, it couldn't have pinged off of it to find information anyway. That's why I said that, but... And I'm not sure if that data would have been sent to the elevator.
Alright, then in that case, the degree to which you could use a face for an image search would mostly depend on his online presence, right?
Right, and keep in mind that if we do an image search, that might set off alarm bells too, because this is Horizon we're talking about.
Yeah.
Might be too paranoid just for Horizon to just set off alarm bells by doing an image search, right?
Depends on how Black Ops this guy is.
Yeah, you start sniffing around their employees higher up or, important in some way, and he seems like he might be important.
That wasn't supposed to be from the number. That was just me typing something. I forgot I still had it impersonated.
Oh, okay, I see. And that fly spy highlighted in there yet. We haven't decided what we're doing, so I'll wait.
So I guess the plan is to watch remotely and then either get him at a good ambush point or follow him to somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it's if I have the fly spy hovering or on the curb or something over here, it can probably latch onto the car as it leaves the parking lot and just get in the grill or something like that.
So we can't ambush him. We don't know his route. We would need multiple vehicles to try to create a distraction or something that would waylay them long enough for us to ambush quickly and take out the scientist.
Right. Well, that's why I was going to send. I mean, if you want to do this under multiple nights, but up to you. Figure out what you want to do, I guess.
I'm saying, I'm not so sure about the idea of taking him while he's driving because we don't know his route. We need multiple vehicles to try to waylay
We will know
him.
his route, though, is what I'm saying. If I send the fly spy, put it in the grill of the car, and it's recording.
We don't know his route until he actually takes his route.
I know,
you can't ambush someone, on the fly like that unless we have multiple people with multiple vehicles getting into that.
All right, I put the fly spy on the car the first night. It comes back. The second night, we know his route. That's what I was saying. If we want to do it that night, yes, you're correct, but we do have 2 nights.
Know how much time we have. The guy said at the end of the week everyone will be cleared out. We don't know how much time that actually involves.
Well, he said each person takes 1 night to process, and they have 2 more.
Right.
Well, he said what was it? The guard said, what about the 2 unprocessed? And then they left the room, and that was it. That's all you heard about the unprocessed.
Yeah, but he also said that given the way they were staffed, he could only do 1 each night or something. He may not have said that about the process, but
he said specifically, he said, yeah, it's a pain. It can only take 1 each night.
Okay, so at least 2 nights. I mean, that's an assumption, but piecing it together, that's Coyote's assumption.
Willing to assume that we have 2 nights on this. I mean, we just went through, it's a total of 6 days, counting session start day, and now we're on the 6th day. I think it's risky to assume that there's more time we actually have here on this situation. I don't think there's enough time to map out a route and then hope he takes the same route on the next night. I honestly think the best play is to grab him as he's leaving, with cameras, having been altered with Mr. Johnson volunteering as the tech guy. We ambush him after his appointment is ended, before he leaves.
We'll want to move his car, too. It getting left in the parking lot overnight could raise some alarms. That's a secondary concern.
Yeah, I don't even know how to do that. I mean,
You just hack it and give it somewhere else to go.
Oh, and if it requires biometrics, we get his biometrics.
All right. I mean, there are other security measures perhaps on the car, but yeah, I mean, Coyote can try to hack it. I mean, he is a mechanic. Figure he'd know how to do that. It might take an hour or two, so I don't know how long you can keep the cameras out.
I don't know. But what I do know is that, again, we have the situation, like, if he goes somewhere else, we don't have enough time to do legwork on that place to scope somewhere else. On the road, it's...
No, I mean, I've already agreed with you that take him, yeah, sure. I'm just saying getting the car out of the parking lot may or may not be feasible. But Coyote's all for taking him tonight. I mean, he doesn't care. He's just throwing out options.
Not even a single shit given.
Nope.
It's only Horizon. I mean, obviously there's only 3 of us here. Jordan, like, I don't know. I think it's the option most likely to end up with us having him. And since we want to make sure that we have a chance of surviving if we enter the elevator, in our current situation, he's the only person that enters and leaves, so we need to have him, or at least what's in his head.
Right.
Yep, I agree. So we set it up in advance to have the security footage doctored. We grab him in as blind of a spot as we can, and we make sure that we hack his car so that it drives off somewhere that it's not going to raise too many red flags. That the general idea? After which we can work out the details.
Sure. Here's a question for Sean. Knowing what car he has, since we don't, are all the cables and stuff going to be internal, or are there going to be any that, like, electronics that run to, say, the tail lights or something that my micro drone tapper can get into without handling the car directly?
Well, most cars have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, pretty much everything is Wi-Fi unless someone's paranoid.
Yeah. I mean, Twitch keeps hers on SkinLink instead of Wi-Fi, but that's not exactly a common thing to do.
And it's a motorcycle, so you don't really do much with the Wi-Fi anyways. Cars, you usually have a bit more than a motorcycle to control with the Wi-Fi.
Right. Well, Coyote would just rather use his own Wi-Fi rather than break into somebody else's. That's all. Just because he thinks it's more secure that way. He doesn't know who else might be listening on the car's Wi-Fi.
Well, that wouldn't really matter either which way, because when you plug it into it, your thing's just going to be connected to the same node anyways. It's not going to really make a difference in, like, noticeability or anything. It's going to be just as noticeable as theirs.
Well, I mean, it will bypass their comms protocol, and that's maybe where some safety measures are put, potentially.
Hypothetically.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what kind of technology they have, 2072. That's why I'm asking Sean, what is... I mean, if it's not worthwhile, he'll just use the Wi-Fi, but, you know, Coyote's just trying to be very, very careful.
Essentially with your micro drone, all it does is if there's a fiber optic cable, it can plug into it, and essentially it acts as a third point connection.
It gives you wireless access to things that are normally only wired.
Right. It doesn't the things recognize there's a third point connection, and some things may be secure enough that, hey, connection change, jack out, but most things aren't that secure. The main thing that it gives you is the ability to plug into things that you wouldn't normally be able to plug into. In terms of noticeability, it's really just as noticeable as actually using the device itself, or
I mean, the only difference is that he wouldn't have to use Wi-Fi with it. So, I mean, it comes with a cord.
Yeah, you can plug it in through a cord too if you wanted to do it that way.
But I mean, it it also bypasses the comms of the system, because it just depends on what the signal frequency is. That's all I'm saying.
Basically,
I mean, maybe I'm
if
thinking too much
someone
about
is,
it.
if someone is sufficiently paranoid to have this be an issue, they're going to have their vehicle slaved to their comm in a way that's hard to access anyway.
Well, hold on. The thing with that is it doesn't actually bypass anything. It doesn't give you any security access or anything like that. You still have to normally get security access. You still have to actually hack
what I'm trying to say, what I'm saying is, okay, if you hack in at Wi-Fi, you have a Wi-Fi signal, and the car has a Wi-Fi signal, correct?
Yeah.
All right, if you use the drone, you have a Wi-Fi signal, and your drone has a Wi-Fi signal. You're not using the automobile's Wi-Fi signal. You're bypassing that entirely. That's the only point I was making.
Except unless you've disabled the car's Wi-Fi, it's still broadcasting if anything's happening.
Yeah.
That's not the... it's the conversation that...
Let me go over it real quick. When you plug
understand
into
it. I understand it. You don't need to go over it. So my point is, I don't. It's a signal frequency type thing that people can listen in on it. That's all. That's all I was saying. Because Coyote is paranoid enough about that, whether it's matters or not.
Well, here, let me go over. It's essentially like adding another Wi-Fi chip to it. It doesn't make it any more. There's no difference in how it functions. It's just another connection point. It's no more or less secure than any other Wi-Fi. It doesn't actually go through your drone. It doesn't use your drone itself to connect. It's a separate connector that's just attached to your drone.
That's not the way it reads. Is that it makes another port. The drone does.
Yeah,
that was my understanding of it.
Opens up a wireless connection back to the rigger, or connect a drag fiber optic cable to it. So it'll open up a wireless connection, but it's a wireless connection from you to the device, not from you to the drone.
Well, I mean, it's me to the drone to the device, because there's a connector.
Well, that's the thing. It's not actually connected to the drone. The device, when it plugs into it, it doesn't actually go through the drone.
It has to.
It doesn't. It's okay. It's essentially what it does is it sticks what's it called? A splice into the fiber optic cables to read it both ways.
Right.
And then adds in, essentially you can put in more or you can't remove data, but you can essentially, it's a little radio signal that's attached to the drone. It's not actually plugged into the drone. It's attached to the drone, and it can signal you from that. You can do it through the drone itself, but that said, then it automatically would read that there's something else attached to it that's not supposed to be.
That's not the way I read it at all. Because the way I read it is that it opens up an entirely new connection, as if I were to splice a cable line and put in, a switch of some sort. And that's essentially what it is. It's just like a mobile switch that you're putting on it. So you could actually have a separate router entirely off the side that is taking control of it. And that's how I interpreted it.
You don't break the cable when you're doing it. You're not breaking the cable and putting a new one in. You're just splicing into it.
That is what I said. You just put a splitter in it, which is splicing the cable. Or a switch, either way. Yeah,
but
it's an entirely different signal.
But it doesn't go through your drone. It's essentially attached to the side of your drone. The reason it doesn't go through your drone is because normally you have your drone slave to your comlink, right?
Normally.
If it was attached to your drone, if it went through your drone would not let you use it because it would be another connection that it's not allowed to use because it's slave to your comlink.
Where does it say that in the rulebook? What page?
Under the slaving. If you read the slaving, it automatically forwards any connection straight to you.
Right, but that's not what I mean. Where does it say that it doesn't open up another link on its own? And why? Where does it say that that's impossible to do? Is what I'm asking.
What I don't see what you're saying. What I'm saying is it attaches essentially another signal device to the thing, it splices it into the cable, and that connects to your comlink.
Okay, so it has another signal other than on the car.
Yeah,
Because
it would have essentially the car. If you were to splice it onto the car would have a new signal device attached to it. A new
but it would
radio.
still, but it was
And therefore it bypasses the original comlink on the car.
No, because it's still just attached to the It's like essentially if you took another wireless card, plugged it into your computer, that wireless card would not automatically get access to everything on your computer.
No. He's talking about it being on a different channel.
Correct.
Basically. And what I'm saying is that it's basically still recognizable as the same channel. It doesn't change the device ID or anything like that. It's still observable on the same protocol.
Where does it say that in the book?
Where does it say otherwise in the book?
Exactly my point. So that's why I'm saying that I think it can open up an entirely new signal. It's as if the cord that goes between my computer and my router.
I think it might be able to open up an entirely new signal, but you'd probably have to hack the device to have it do that first.
Right. If you were to do that, if you were to have it attach an entirely new thing, the comlink, the device you're attaching it to, wouldn't recognize that signal in the first place. It wouldn't recognize what you're doing because it's not been set up to do that already.
I don't understand that. All I know is that if I have a router and I have my computer and I go to the Cat5 cable between me and my computer and I hack it, and I splice it and put a switch there, my computer doesn't know. However, that thing can see everything that goes to and from my computer and can actually add stuff to the router as if it were my computer. That is a thing you can do now. And it's an entirely different signal and it's undetectable.
But here, let me put it this way. If you're doing that and say you're on the web and you're going to a site and that thing puts in a false site, the person doesn't have to not close the thing. Someone gets a false thing like that, they won't run the program or whatever you've downloaded to the thing. They won't use it. Do you understand what I'm saying with that?
Yeah, I don't see how it applies to this situation, though. I mean, I really don't understand why it doesn't open up another signal. That's basically it. Now, if you just want to say it doesn't, just as the GM, which it seems like you guys are, that's fine. It was not in the rules, and so I was interpreting it as a different option, a way to bypass other ways of entry into a building or network.
It just seems to me that the rules as intended mean more for this option to just set something to wireless that previously did not have wireless capabilities.
Oh, my
no
interpretation,
more or less.
My interpretation was to break in as like an infiltration, break in surreptitiously to a program or into a network of some sort, so that it cannot be backtracked, and it's on an entirely different system, like the connection. And that's why you have a cord option as well.
I totally get that, but I think it's mainly just to provide a connection where normally there was none. It's not to have a different protocol of connection, a different type of connection. Or rather, it's not to provide a different channel of connection. It's to provide a connection at all.
Yeah, it's in the description. I mean, it's a tapper bug, and to me, a tapper is invisible. That's the whole reason for a tap. It's like a phone tap, for instance, obviously. But hey, whatever way you want to do it. I mean, really, I just want to go back, bash this guy on the head and, question him, and to heck with the rest. Just getting into that car might be a little difficult, because I don't know how long those cameras are going to be down. And that is Coyote's main thought, is he wants to go in there. I mean, if he has to basically hotwire this car, whatever the 2072 version of that, he needs to, he wants to do it without being seen or leaving a trace. And that's why he would use the micro tapper. But if they're going to knock out the cameras and he can be assured that they're not going to come back on by the Johnson, then he'll go in there and he'll do it by hand. I mean, he has the tools to probably open up the door anyway of the car.
Well then, what are you setting up beforehand? And the koala is on the Wanderlust map.
Well, as far as I know, my fly spy is just going to be across the street watching the parking lot and sending the data to whomever cares about it.
And does anyone want Twitch to do anything in particular?
Twitch, given her expertise with Shadowrunning as well as a familiarization with her abilities, I think that placement is left open to you, Aaron. I don't have any ideas that would be better than yours.
Alright, Twitch is going to be scouting the area out and trying to find somewhere good to be hiding in wait for any sort of ambush.
Is Truthsayer going to check the astral?
We'll definitely check the astral.
Okay. Assuming you do it a little bit a ways, because you do have a few hours to work with. Assuming you do it from a little ways, you'll notice that the Watcher spirits not just sitting there anymore. That said, the patrols seem to be on 10-minute intervals.
Are they explicitly timed, or is it just like some sort of random variance?
It's random. It's 5 to 15 minutes.
Okay, that's valuable information. It's definitely something worth sharing with the group. The fact that being spotted by a Watcher, there's a possibility that that might not be the case. Courtesy of the fact there's not one, as of now, permanently watching the site. There's a patrol interval of from about 5 to 15 minutes. So we could avoid notice on the astral plane by doing this.
Okay, and
All right, I
where...
like the sound of that.
And so, where are going to position people in an actual body? I'd assume that it'd be off the map itself.
The dog wants to position itself, Sean. You should let it.
Well, I'm not really sure about the area in general. Where would a good place be for Twitch, based on her knowledge of stealth and ambush tactics, be to hide herself?
There's essentially two obvious choices. One, about a block, maybe a block and a half away, maybe even 2 blocks, a fair distance, and just relied on drone or something to see what's going on, or 2, try to get up on a roof or something. That said, that might be difficult because of 1, cameras, 2, these are just straight up normal buildings. You're gonna have to like scale the face of something to do that.
All right, in that case, is there within a block or 2 a sort of area where people might often wait while a given flight is coming in to give someone a ride?
They're within a block of the airport itself. That said, this is the private airport. This is the one that's all the private flights get come in and out. So there's not a lot of people waiting around here. Especially not really late at night. There's not too many people that just sort of sit out and wait. I mean, you probably could get away with it, but you probably would get noticed doing it too.
Okay, well, is there any alleyway or something that she might find doing, recon of the place beforehand?
No, most of the buildings here are either tight to the building next to them or they're open up for parking spaces. And it's all corporate property, so cameras every which way.
All right, in that case, maybe something more than just 1 block away. Somewhere that has a good traffic pattern to the area so I could swoop in pretty quickly.
It's getting late at night and it's corporate property. It's empty streets. This is mostly office buildings and things like that.
So just about anywhere then, huh?
Just about. And who is on what or in what and about how far away, or does anyone want to position themselves in some other way?
Well, Twitch has has image magnification on both her glasses and her bike, and what is it, an ultrasound suite? So I think that she can monitor from quite a fair distance away.
Truesayer is an infiltration liability, particularly with the regular patrols. The best he can do is keep an eye out for a distance, but I think it's best for the team if he if he maybe stays with Coyote. Because otherwise he might hide in a dead bush again to hide himself within the Gaiosphere. Sean, what if he buys a bush and he puts it on the corporate sidewalk and then he hides behind it so the Watcher can't see him?
Well, then everyone will be wondering why there's something living on corporate property.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Well, shit, I don't have a counter for that yet. I'll have to come up with that in a few hours.
Yeah, I saw a documentary cartoon where someone did that. It worked out pretty well.
I got everything I knew about infiltration and stealth from Looney Tunes, so
Exactly.
if it worked for Bugs Bunny, why can't it work for Dursayer? He associated with a rabbit, right?
Because he doesn't have enough Toon Force.
So yeah, Coyote's in a similar spot as he was during the day, just, a couple blocks away. And the drone will be across the street here.
How does one go about acquiring Surge 3? So I can get some Toon Force.
You got to be very, very mixed in your luck.
And you've got to buy it beforehand.
Beforehand, some kind of pre-order shit.
Yeah, it's on pre-order. It's really just really exclusive.